Dezrocksteady at King of the Pit TV.
Yes! There's Rocksteady, King of the Pit TV. Kicking back. Picking back, being bull. We just listened to Deaf Human. I'm going to give a few final thoughts. On this channel, you should have all of the songs uploaded, given copyright hasn't restricted them. Because with this band in particular, it's a little bit funny sometimes getting past the old YouTube copyright gatekeepers. Even though it is fair use, people. It is fair use. So we listened to Human. It was requested on the Patreon by Joseph. Joseph W. I won't use the full name. You know, GDPR potentially. Or at least that's what we would call it in the corporate realms. 8 tracks. Done and dusted. Doesn't outstay its welcome. Incredibly consistent record. No weak points to the record. There was no downsides as far as filler songs and this and that. That benefit is also very detrimental. Okay, so I'll get in and just say that. It was so consistent, nothing stood out. Nothing stood out. So consistent, I run out of things to say as the songs were going on, because at the very least you can sort of say, oh, that's a great riff, or that's a great groove, but there's a very particular style of riffing and playing, and it all just sort of comes full circle, and just you're listening to the same song over and over again. There's no differentiation in the vocal performance. I mean, lyrically speaking, yes, from what you can actually make out from the vocal, but other than that, the vocal sounds the same. The playing sounds the same. The drumming was really good. The drumming was fantastic. I felt like the drumming was the most important part of this record. The drums were really good. And the sound engineering was pristine. Yeah, I don't think they could have got a better production on the record, so that definitely was a plus. Most definitely. Incredibly consistent. If you like the sound, you're going to like the record, full stop. You know what I mean? You could listen to the first 30 seconds of this record, and if you like that, then you like everything. It's that concentrated and consistent of a sound, and, as far as writing's concerned. But I also think that's an incredible downside to the record, because it could be deemed a little bit boring, in all fairness, as you start to find less hooks that draw you in. I did like the production. Bass line was nice. There was a good low end to the mix. Very rarely, but every once in a while, you'd hear the bass line pop a little bit as he went onto the higher register of the fretboard. That was very good. I can't remember what I rated the prior Def records, so I'm not going to go out of my way to rate this one out of 10, but I feel from what I remember, it was a little better than the last record, which was it Spiritual Healing we heard last? Whatever the record that came before this was, I think I prefer this one a little more so. Mostly down to the sound engineering, and I feel like there was a little more of a chug factor. There's a little more of a borderline hardcore, mosh. Beatdown wasn't necessarily a thing at this point, but you know what I mean? There was a little more of an ignorant, chuggy riff element to the record, and I appreciated that. From what I pulled out of the lyrical content when I could do so, it seemed like there was a lot of introspective, um, you know, wise, open minded lyrical content, so that was pretty cool. The people had chosen Lack of Comprehension as like the most viewed song, the best one on the record. I don't necessarily know why, purely as all of the songs were good and as consistent as each other. You couldn't really defer one from the other. But yeah, Lack of Comprehension had some good guitar work. A very standout, reoccurring lick in particular, I feel was, the highlight of that particular song. And with that being said, I can't really go into too much more depth. It was what it was. It was a Def record. Do I think this band could be a little bit? I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say, because I understand where they stand as far as the foundational aspects and the roots aspects. So I'm not gonna hate because you can't really. But that's my overview of this record. I'm signing